Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back for another Full Joy Mom video. In today's video, you are gonna want to stick around if you ever leave the house with small children. My kids were 4 and almost 5 years. That's how close together they were. So when they were babies, this is the stuff that I figured out. Guess what? This still lives in my car, and my youngest has been potty trained for over 5 years. Why do I have a toddler training potty in my car? Stay tuned and you will find out.
You're watching Full Joy Mom.
Well, okay, guys, you know, leaving the house with children is just like, what? And for our family, one of the biggest priorities is always keeping it healthy. So that's where I'm going to start, is actually what do we do to avoid fast food when we're out? Because we've all been in those scenarios where you're making a long car trip, or something with the errands took longer than you thought, or you're out of town visiting family. And honestly, the further we go in investigating our food and what's in our food, the more it has built our tenacity as a family to not eat out truly under almost any circumstances. I can say that we've eaten out at fast food maybe once in the last year, maybe twice, maybe 2 times, because and it didn't go that way overnight, right? We had to progress into it. But these are the tips that I have for that. So we use the grocery store like it is our fast food. So wherever we are, if we're out and I haven't packed a cooler, which we'll talk about in a minute, then I am running into a grocery store. There's 6 of us if my husband's along. So I'm getting bulk foods, not individual bags of things. Really, we're not doing much bags anymore, but if we are, I keep a box of Ziploc bags in my car. Sometimes these get filled with rocks when they're on an adventure. Sometimes I don't know, we've used these for all manner of things, but we use it for food when we're in the car, and then I'm not having to buy individual things. Maybe I'll get a bag of baby carrots. Typically we like the long organic carrots, we peel and cut them. I don't love the wash that's on carrots, but for us that's like the compromise when we're out. I'll grab baby carrots. I'll start everybody off with that. I'll get a block of cheese, and I leave a plastic knife in the car just in case of emergencies. You can cut up a block of cheese if you're putting some effort into it with a plastic knife. I'll usually leave some paper plates around. One of my best tips is to honestly not completely clean your car out ever. If my husband gets to the car, I have to actually, like if he's the cleaner, I have to go back and assess what things did he pull out and throw a couple things back in there. Now, of course, there's probably some of you that are so awesomely organized that you maybe have an emergency kit, and that has been on my list to do. Mine's a little more disorganized than that. It's more like, no, leave those socks in case of an emergency. Like, don't take all 10 of the books that the kids have brought to the car out. Leave 1 or 2 behind. That's okay if there's 15 pencils in there. You know, I'll just leave things because you're gonna use it later. Of course, I'm leaving grocery store bags in the car for whatever goes down. But these have come in such handy. The knife, I'll leave spoons around because maybe yogurt isn't something we usually do in our diet. But I'll do a yogurt from a grocery store, or I'll do the cheese, anything that I can, because if I'm the driver, right, I can cut that up in the front of the car. If I'm not, another thing I always leave in my car is this blanket. It's got this cute little bag. I got it at Aldi forever ago. It's huge. So it is a pop-up picnic table. One time we were out and we were clothes shopping, and we were in the middle of like a busy area, but there was grass by the end of a parking lot, and there was a grocery store. So we ran into the grocery store, pulled out this blanket. I cut some things up. You know, I'll maybe grab a water to do some rinsing of vegetables, but in my mind, giving my kids vegetables or fruits that I've only poured water over to wash is way better than filling their body with seed oils from a drive-through, or food that's not even really food from a fast food place. So I always have the blanket in the car. That makes for great impromptu picnics or seating. I love having that. And then shall we go to the potty next? Okay. I literally have no shame. I don't even care. I am the primary user of this potty. It fits in, we have a minivan, it fits in between the front seats, like right under there because of the way our console is. I wouldn't care where it fit, I would put it in the trunk, it doesn't matter. Like the froggy potty, we call it a froggy potty because it's a frog, does not leave our car. And that has saved me so many times when I'm doing solo trips, especially when they were little and I had like a baby and maybe someone potty training. I would actually, we live by the turnpike, so I would pull off the turnpike into a rest area so I was in a safe parking spot and actually not take anyone in the building because it was so much trickier to get all 4 kids by myself in and out of the building than it was to park in the back of the parking lot, face away from everybody, and have my kids use the potty. And from there it just went to, oh, I don't want to use a cup in the car. It's so much easier to just go in this thing. I mean, you can use whatever kind of potty you want. I don't know, this is Fisher Price. The point is to have no shame and use it. I just use it. I run at the park. That was yesterday, and there were really gross bathrooms there, and I'm like, no, I'd rather squat and use the froggy potty inside the car. Nobody can see anything. Our windows are tinted, and you just park so no one's in the front of you. I leave a little roll of toilet paper in the car. Everyone knows if there's ever tissue shoved under the seat anywhere, you better not pick that up unless your mommy cleaning out the car. That has saved me. Like, guys, this is my biggest life hack with traveling with kids, because there's so often where you're like, I'm not by a bathroom. Somebody immediately has to go. I immediately have to go. I drink a lot of water, and I don't like to dehydrate myself just because we're going out of the house. So absolute lifesaver, leave it in my car, and it saves the day. Next thing that is saving the day on more rare occasions, but when you need it, you're like, oh man. So we've had kids throw up. We live in the mountains. Thankfully everyone's not like too bad with car sickness right now, but every once in a while something occurs in the car, and rather than trying to catch it in the grocery store bag or catch it in whatever else is laying around the car, we just leave this in here. I got it from the dollar store, and it has a screw top and it has little handles on the side. And if anyone is ever, hey, I'm not feeling good, we toss this in their direction. And it's just so nice as a parent to not be super stressed out while you're driving that someone is going to throw up all over the place. Mine are older now, so they could manage this on their own, unscrew it, and then it's not spilling everywhere. We literally, people have puked in this. I one time got sick on the way home from our raw milk run that we make every week, and it came on so unexpected, and I'm in the middle of nowhere. I cannot call for someone to come pick me. It was just crazy. So I drove and held this and pulled over and used it a time or two. So that has been a lifesaver. Let's see what else. Okay, back to food and leaving the house. My kids eat a lot, and rather than always having to grab something that is processed and in a bag and a dry food that you don't have to refrigerate, I've just gotten really good at throwing an ice pack in this cooler and putting whatever kinds of fresh food I need in there. I'll shove in a little cutting board, and then I have this nice knife that has a cover on it, so it's not dangerous to throw in there. I don't think I have it in the bag, I don't know where it is right now, but I'll stick that in there, and then I'll just chuck this in the car. Honestly, sometimes they don't even eat anything from it, but if I were to bring, like a bag of, I don't know, we do gluten-free pretzels sometimes, even though those have seed oils in them, but they would eat the pretzels if they were there to be consumed, just out of boredom. If I have fruits and vegetables and cheese inside of here, I don't even have to cut them up because I can do that on the spot when we need it. So it doesn't even make it that much faster, that much slower to have to pack fresh foods. It's just the fact that it has to stay cold. So I just grab as many ice packs as I can shove in there, and half the time I just bring it back home with me and stick it back in the fridge, because they're not as interested unless they're truly hungry, and then if they are, I have it. There are picnic tables, there's the blanket, like there's always a place where you can stop and do that. If you're not the driver, you can do it while you're the passenger in the front seat of the car. Another thing I love to keep in the car is a towel. Actually, this is my husband's idea. We just always have a towel laying in the back, And sometimes it's because my kids have found water. Sometimes it's because they've spilled things. Sometimes it's used because someone left the window down and the seat got wet. You know, all manner of things, but just having a towel around in the car comes in so much handy. You know, I'll be out with friends and I'll actually get compliments on the way I pack and feed my kids if we go out to do an event together with people out of the house. And it's funny because it looks like, oh, I'm such a good mom. Like, oh, look at you, you're cutting up the apple slices right here, and you're you know, got a whole block of cheese that you're cutting, or whatever it is. I've taken carrots with a carrot peeler before because that was all I had in the house, and you're peeling and cutting the carrots here. And to everyone else, they're like, oh, this is so great. Meanwhile, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this was me running last minute. I threw paper plates, a knife, and a cutting board, and half the contents of my fridge into whatever cooler I had laying around. Like, it doesn't take any more thought or preparation. It just gets to be healthier foods when you get there. It works so well. I love it. I've been doing it for years and there is no turning back. I just keep leveling up on the kinds of things that I put in there. It's kind of funny, like what I'll come up with to assemble once we're on site because we're trying to run out the door to do whatever activity. And yeah, we just chuck it all in. So I would love to hear from you. What are your tips? What are the things that you keep in your car that you're like, oh, this is a must, like Band-Aid? Anyways, tell me your tips. I'd love to know if there are other things that really help you out. What should I be adding to my vehicle? Lately, we've been keeping a container of nuts in the car. Those don't seem to go bad. They're sealed. They don't need refrigerated. And then if we run out of the house and I haven't grabbed anything at all, it's like, well, if you're starving, there's nuts. Which we're trying to remove the word starving from our children's vocabulary and our own, because praise God, we are not starving. No one in our house is ever starving. Thank you, Jesus. So if you're very hungry and you're in our car, you can have some nuts. Okay, anything else, let me know in the comments below. I hope you all are having a wonderful week, an amazing summer. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Until next time.